In honor of our new book, Almost 30, we're gonna be taking you guys on a Saturn Return journey.
You've sent in your Saturn Return stories, and over the next 4 episodes of this limited series, we are going to be looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly of your Saturn Returns as well as ours, and really get into it.
It's a very transformative time, and looking at your stories will help you feel less alone and help you feel supported as you may feel lost during your Saturn Return. Lindsay and I met during the end of her Saturn Return, the beginning of mine, and it was one of the most pivotal points in our lives, and we decided we wanted to share those stories of transformation, of change, and growth with you so that you know that you're never alone.
Saturn Return isn't here to break you, it is here to make you exactly who you're meant to be.
We hope that these videos are supportive during this very transformative time, that they provide entertainment, levity, and some inspiration.
Be sure to stick around until the last video because you're gonna choose your favorite Saturn Return story.
Let's get into it. Welcome to the first episode of your Saturn Return Stories series celebrating our book.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Almost 30, a definitive guide to a life you love in this decade and beyond. We are so excited because we had so many submissions for our Saturn Return stories, and they were powerful and profound and really reminded me how much people go through, how much change people experience. Like, you meet people on the street and you don't know.
You have no idea. It was a reminder that when you think everyone has it together, they absolutely don't.
Oh, for sure.
Bless. But we're excited to dig into these stories. Thank you so much for taking the time to write these, reflect on these. And we're gonna share big sister advice, kind of reflections, and totally relate because we've been through a lot too.
We've been in it. So our intention is to make you feel less alone, to inspire you, to bring our community together, because I think this is something that we all sort of related on. I was thinking about the beginning of Almost 30 and how we were so raw and how much we were struggling. And I think that was so much of the magnetism of what brought people to Almost 30.
Completely.
Was the fact that we were just on fire.
Life was a dumpster fire.
Yeah, we were just so lost.
Yeah, but it's funny because if I think about it, how I felt then, I don't know if I was like, I am lost.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
I was just like, things are crazy.
Yeah.
This is like either annoying or
That's
like,
true.
why isn't this working? You know what I
Frustrated.
mean?
Yeah, I think my perpetual state is either like play or frustration.
Yeah.
I would say I'm either or I'm frustrated. And I think for me it was just frustrated.
Yeah, totally.
I just was like, oh, I want more. I know there's more. What is it? I was like, what is it?
Yeah.
What are we doing? You know, that whole thing. Okay, so our first story says, here's the story. It was 2021, still in the thick of my whole era of chaos. It started by me thinking I needed a dog.
As you do.
As you do. I fostered 3 puppies, also chaos, and adopted 1. Shortly after I adopted the dog, I quit my job, put all my stuff in storage, and moved into my parents' cabin in the middle of Saskatchewan in Canada.
Oh, wow. That's middle of nowhere.
That's true middle of nowhere.
I feel like we either hear that people move out of their parents' place during their Saturn Return or move away from their hometown, or they move back.
That's so true.
There's usually...
That's so true. I had no savings, but decided to hire a coach and turned out to be not what I needed at all. And I'm laughing because it's just like, yeah.
Everybody thinks they need a coach, but everyone thinks everyone has a coach.
Yeah.
So they hire a coach.
Yeah, that's true.
But then you're not clear about why you need a coach.
Yes, that's true. It's true. It's like, what's a coach gonna do when you're like, I'm living in the middle of a cabin? You kind of need a therapist, right? At that point, because coach is like active.
Yeah.
Coach is like, hey, you should be going to a coffee shop 3 days a week. You should
Or
be...
you need like an expert in foraging mushrooms or something to support you.
Oh my God, so true. Somehow had me cash out a locked RRSP to pay her. That idea. Hey, that's a no.
Wait, the
Coach convinced her that. I don't know if that's a coach. Oh, I thought hiring a coach would solve all my problems. Ha ha ha, it didn't.
I think that's like a common experience where like you put your trust and or all your marbles in a basket of like, this is gonna give me the answers. Whether it's a healer, a coach, someone online you're following and you do all of their stuff or you follow all the, you know, it's like you forget that the answers, most of them are within you.
Totally.
So you outsource.
I think I've outsourced my intuition a lot. I've never outsourced it to one singular person, but I've definitely outsourced it to other things.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or maybe I have, but I think I just don't trust anybody. I think that's my whole thing. So respect the trust. Living in the cabin alone was a 7-month stint. How? I don't know. It was a full-on Canadian winter, and I still somehow made it out alive. Remember that book?
Was there a grocery store
with
nearby?
Chris, whatever, Chris McCandless or something that died? Into the Woods? Into the Wild.
Oh,
Remember that
wow.
book? That was such an amazing movie and book.
Such an amazing movie, yeah.
I loved that one.
Anyway, but it sounds like this is not amazing right now, so
Yeah,
let's
honestly.
stick with it.
She doesn't die, so just so you know.
But like, how did, like 7 months in the middle of nowhere, I mean, that's a lot of like quiet solitude, but also potentially stir-crazed. Yeah, okay.
My reasoning to go into the cabin was to save on rent and bills. I was away from all distractions and thought I'd be safe because I had my dog. Another big moment of LOL. She said safe like this. So kind of like that. Like, this is what's fun with her. She's very self-aware. It sounds like she was like punishing herself for something or like imprisoning herself or something. My parents thought I was insane. Now I see why. And didn't support me through any of it. Being in the cabin was also meant facing big mother wounds, while also somehow giving her grace as she struggled with substance abuse. Meanwhile, I was struggling to feed myself, let alone my dog. Yeah, because you have to become your own mother in a place like that.
Oh, yeah.
Really tending and taking care of yourself, nourishing yourself like you're like a baby at that time. I had no way financially of getting myself out of the cabin and into my own apartment, other than myself, but I did it somehow. I don't even really know how that happened. Once I had enough money, I got my own beautiful apartment. Don't know how I was approved because I only just had enough money for the security deposit. Lived there for 4 months. Here we go again. Decided to put everything in a friend's storage unit. Bought a one-way ticket to Italy, rehomed my dog, hardest thing I've ever done, and left the country.
Okay, it's either an incredible idea or we're
I know, we
still
don't
running
know.
away
We're
from
gonna
things.
see. Yeah, we're gonna see where we're at. Okay, while I was away, my friend who had the storage unit didn't pay, not even 1 month for the storage rental. Therefore, all of my belongings were sold and from the storage ward while I was away. I'm not kidding. Wow.
Okay, so being like truly stripped.
Truly stripped. My girl was
So
stripped.
You rehomed your dog. All of your stuff was sold.
Yeah.
Without your permission.
This is the nuance of this is really just important, really nuanced, where it's like follow your heart or follow your intuition. Sometimes it's like, you know, her intuition was going to Italy. Well, it was her intuition. It could have been perfectly right because sometimes our intuition takes us to places where we need, not where we want. But it's also sometimes your intuition is like, people think that it's, I don't know, it could be just fear. That's like, I need to get out. And it's like, go to Italy.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
what I was like, we're either Italy's a great idea or we're escaping something.
Totally.
You know, it's kind of keeping it moving so that we
Totally.
don't actually.
I didn't know storage units sold stuff. Oh,
Yeah,
Storage Wars.
Yeah, Storage Wars. That's a good
Wow.
idea, yeah.
I came home to nothing. It was the craziest 3 years I've ever experienced, for sure. Now I'm finally realizing how much I ran from everything and didn't want to face anything. I'm currently still working as a life coach and investing more energy into restarting a weekly podcast. I learned so much through that, not to mention navigating at least 3 spiritual awakenings. I guess it was all worth it. Almost 30 got through so many days when I didn't have anything else. Here's to a life of surrender, baby. I love the part about running from everything and didn't want to face anything.
Yeah.
That's a really, really good one. Because this is the thing, the Saturn return, the lessons will follow you. So if you don't meet them and if you don't approach them and if you don't sit with them, they will come back. It sounds here too, like there's the inner mother work she was doing, there's a lack of an inner father. There's a lack of an inner authority or inner anchor because that inner father, that inner masculine kind of holds you down where you're like, hey, actually we need to face this. Actually, we should pay for the storage unit ourselves. Actually, we should do, you know, this thing when we come back. Like there's, you know, you really need both here, but.
And sometimes I feel like we kind of get either addicted or used to instability. And so
Yeah.
when things, you know, when she was in the apartment for 4 months and then she's like, I'm out again. It's just an interesting, like, where you have that opportunity to settle for a moment.
Yeah.
You know, at least a year and just kind of ground. But it's like the body or the nervous system is used to just kind of being in that instability. And it's to have that awareness, I think, is one of the shifts that often happens in your Saturn return, where it's like you recognize a pattern and it's like recognizing the pattern and then understanding how it is not working and affecting everything else, you know?
Yeah, it is. It's the Saturn return is like that pattern recognition period where you're running from things or you're not acknowledging things or you're not stepping into your worth or your power or your pattern is to run rather than stay.
And it almost becomes so dramatized and obvious during your Saturn
That's
return
a good one.
that you can't not see it.
That's a good one. What was that for you?
I think for me it was like chasing after the wrong people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like getting comical at a point where I'm like, okay. You know, people who had zero time for me, to a point where it was like, I'm sure my friends were like, are you good? Like, do you have
I don't remember
any
thinking that,
self-worth?
but you know what's funny is I do this now with my dating, and I remember you doing it a little bit. It's like at the end of it, like I don't talk about it that much. Like I talk about it sometimes, but like you kind of just do your thing.
Totally.
Like I'd be like, oh, you're like, I'm dating this person. I'm like, what? Or like I'm talking to this person. Like before at the beginning, you like tell everyone every secret, and then you start getting into it, and you're like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally. Well, it's hard not to be also like influenced by your friends in a way that where you're like, I kind of need to figure out what this feels like for me.
Yeah.
And then I can kind of bring you into it, yeah.
So this Saturn return, if we could kind of give it a theme and give it a lesson, I'd say the theme with this is the running, and when you run, whatever you're running from will always find you. And so the more that we can be present and sit with and be with the patterns that we're in that are not serving us, the better setup we are going to be for our lives.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the running.
That was a good one.
Sick. We would love for you to drop your Saturn Return stories in the comments and let us know what your favorite part of this story was.
We'll see you on the next one.